Hey everybody, Corey here, coming at you with another knife review. Today we are taking a look at the brand new 2022 Rike knife Lamella. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. I try to put out knife related content on a regular basis. Ain't that cool? Let's start this off with some size comparisons. Here it is next to my conventionally large knife, the off-grid knife Scorpion. Here it is next to my conventionally small knife. The Ontario knives are at number 2. You can see it's a little bit larger than the Scorpion in overall length. You can see it's substantially larger than the Rat 2 in overall length. I believe the blade length is 3.9. With the Scorpion being 4, I don't know how this whole thing is working out, but it's bigger in overall length than the off-grid knife Scorpion. Why, oh why, are the size comparisons stopping at only 2 knives? Well, unfortunately, guys, this is very difficult for me because I absolutely love 95% of this knife, but the 5% that I don't love is an absolute deal breaker for me, and it should be a deal breaker for you if the one that you get is similar to mine. I'm going to save the deal breaker for the end because I want to focus on the things that are really cool about this knife. What is this knife doing differently than any other knife on the market right now? Show me a screw. Where's the screw? Where's the pivot screw? Where are the body screws? You can't see them. The only screw you can see is on the thumb stud. That's not actually on the knife, though. Why don't you see any screws? This dark gray part, or for the DLC model, it would be black, is essentially a cover that slips onto the knife. It's a titanium cover. Normally, a knife that looks like this, you would call it an integral because it would be placed, it would be milled out of a single piece of titanium. That's how they make knives that have no hardware, no breaks in the knife. They mill it out of a single piece of titanium. It's usually more expensive, blah, blah, blah. This one is, it's a liar. It's not a real integral, but it looks like an integral for all intents and purposes, right? They do that by this light silver section here underneath. I'll call this the hood. Everything underneath the hood is like a normal knife. It's a regular frame. There's a pivot screw right here. It's got 2 body screws right here. You just can't see any of it. The way that you take that off, this thing right here, you can actually wedge a tool. They don't give you a tool, but you can wedge something under it and slide it up. You should be able to see that right there. That's a spring. There's a spring that's keeping that in place. You can push against the spring and you can pop this cover off, and then you can see all the hardware underneath. That's extremely cool. That is extremely, extremely cool. I think this is an amazing, creative way to do this sort of thing, and I think more makers should take note because it's just very cool. Let's talk about the deployment methods. You've got the flipper. You can push button. You can do a regular light switch. You can do a Spidey flick with the fuller that goes all the way. Obviously, you can use the thumb studs. They are adequate, and you can actually index finger flick it, and we'll talk about why in a second. But as far as the design goes, it's going to be very polarizing. This is a Persian style blade, sweepy, swoopy all over the place, but it's also combined with a very futuristic look. So it's definitely got something unique going for it. You're gonna be able to tell right away if this knife is for you or not. But let's talk about something like Ergos, something that you might actually care about. You might think that this knife might not have the best ergos, and I would agree with you. It depends on how big your hands are. So I have medium-sized hands. You can see they basically fit perfectly on the knife. If you have large hands, you're going to run into this thing, and it's going to be a bad time. It's going to be a bad, bad time. That being said, there is a full forward finger choil. So if you want to choke up, you basically get another whole finger of space on the knife. Now, let's talk about the deal breaker. You ready? This detent is quite literally dangerously light. There's no doubt in my mind. Watch this. I mean, I barely have to put any effort into that. And it just falls open. There's no doubt in my mind that will open in my pocket And there's no doubt in my mind that I want nothing less than that in my hand. And so, unfortunately, even though I love this knife, excuse me, I'm a little sick right now. Even though I love this knife, it's going straight back to White Mountain Knives. And that's all I can say about it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you all next time.